Hi, this is Dr. Monique Graham from Nick Speaks LLC, and my shirt says self care. As always, it's always about self care. I wanted to talk today a little bit about when healing is real. I had my last night was Wednesday, and I had my weekly program, which is called Wisdom Wednesday. And as always, it is good. It is good to have people come in. It is good to hear opinions. It is good for people to share what they're going through. Last time I did one of these, it was right on the cusp of figuring out what's happening with our election situation. And we had, I hosted an election party, and that was interesting. And then we kind of morphed into the series of events after. And so last night we did a session. I hosted a session, and it was called Encourage Me. Now, I usually don't have these sessions as a public access because during the session, there are so many things that would come up that I think I want to say not only are they personal, but they're intense. And I think in the moment, it's easier to have those emotions and those reactions to those emotions when you are in a safe space. Now, nothing from the session is on any social media, so you have to join to be part of it. So it's really, really, really an intense moment, but it's a good you know, group come together kind of thing. I mean, cannot ever compare to any other experience I've had. So I really, really love it. So last night we were talking through just encouraging each other. And my goal, I think, was to ensure that everyone who happened to have joined us experienced that level of, you know what, I feel a little better. I may not have all the answers to all the questions and all the issues and all the situations that might be happening at this time. I understand that COVID has spiked again. I hear these things because I don't watch the news. And it's one of those things that will throw you into a place of worry and concern, and the quality of self-care that you might have been enjoying may be threatened. A lot of people still aren't working a lot, so there are a lot of things, a lot of factors that will contribute to a person feeling insecure, uncertain, unhappy, and most importantly, afraid. And so, with encouragement, my goal was to have everyone just be in a better space and a better place. So here we were having these discussions, and we had activities. I am an activity buff. I am sorry, I do activities. I think that when you have an opportunity to, I'm wearing my Nick Speaks nail polish. I'm loving it. When you have an opportunity to express genuinely how you feel about a situation and have an audience that not only understands, they don't have to agree, but they give you a listening ear and spend the time to learn where you're coming from is a big deal. And so the activities kind of encourage that. The activities also, I think, gives meaning to certain things that may or may not be happening with you. So my activities are different context, different content, different things. Love activities. So we were talking about what to do with emotions that might come up that aren't positive. There's a school of thought of, detach yourself as best as possible until you can process it. There's also a school of thought on face it head on, in the face. Make sure you are dealing with it as you can. But last night we discussed entertaining it. We discussed entertaining a thought that is not necessarily positive, that was not brought on by us, that has somehow affected our equilibrium negatively. So not entertaining it as in, oh my God, I'm glad I'm unhappy today, but with that emotion, what can I learn from it? And we explored all different things. And I think why I wanted to do somehow or somewhat of a recap to some degree is, when does one know when healing is real? You know, when you've gone through a sea of negative, disappointing, heartbreaking, heavy stuff, and it requires a level of healing from you, healing of not just your mind and your faculties, but healing to the point where it's no longer trigger. It's no longer something that when you hear it, it becomes you again. And healing to the point where it does not distract you from whether you're on a goal, or doesn't distract you from an element of your world that you're focusing on. So what I have for you is this. Someone standing in front of you and touching you and saying, hey, you're healed, can go a long way for a lot of people. Someone telling you it's time to hurry up and get over this thing might go some element of a way for other people. But ultimately, one needs to assess the situation as it is for what it is, and face it and embrace it as it is, and not only look at it from I'm distancing myself, but why are you here? What is happening at this point? What is making this happen? You might have absolutely no control over it, and most of the times you don't. So you try to find within the situation, while you're in the situation. It's very difficult to do. It's very difficult to look at a situation while you're in it and say, hey, you know what? This is something I need to learn from. It takes some doing to get to that point. But once you embrace it as, this is not who I am, this is not what I want, this is not where I want to be, what's next? Then your recourse tends to come in a way that you're solving a problem, not murmuring. And murmuring is okay for who needs to listen, but you want to also have some solutions as best as possible. As best as possible. Now, when you know that you've healed, because let me tell you something, humans will be able to harm you and not harm you. And humans will have the capacity to harm you and intentionally harm you, whether with their words, their actions, certain deeds that they will carry out. They will have control over not harming you and still harm you, because that's the option that they choose to go with. So when we explored a lot of things, I thought through this morning on how many times humans have attacked either your character, your purpose, your dreams, your ideals, your ideas, the things you hold sacred. How many times have people mocked the desires that you've had? How many times have humans who are even close to you, and that's another thing we talked about, humans who are even close to you, who have mocked your desire to be on a higher level than the level you were before? Not in any competition with anyone, just being on a different level than you were before, for whatever reason, and in any arena. How many times have you said to someone who has been either close to you or you thought was important to you, how much you wanted or how much something was important to you, and you expected the minimum respect and didn't get it? And those are moments that will throw you. Those are moments that will dissuade you. Those are moments that will make you ponder, you know? And when you get to the point where you accept that it just means that person doesn't need to be in your space, then you have the opportunity to remove them from your space. Now, I'm not saying go around and if everybody does not agree with you, get rid of them. That's not what I'm saying, because there are a lot of people who won't agree with you, and it's a valid situation. But there's a difference between someone disagreeing with a thought or a plan that you have. Let's say you're at work and you propose a plan and they don't agree, so you go back to the drawing board. I am saying, in your life, you made a decision that you were going to do something. You made a decision that you were going to build a house. And in the building of a house, it took certain things to maneuver, and you shared this with someone and they told you, don't be bothered with it. You might say, I'm going back to school. I'm 65 or I'm 15 and I want to go back to school or go to a particular school, and you share it with someone and they discourage you because the box that they put you in, you seem to be surpassing it, or they could be secretly having doubts for themselves and they project it onto you. So in those moments, you're going to feel off, devastated, hurt even, and then you need healing. So how do you know that this healing, like I said, healing, it's a process. How do you know that healing is real? Is when that ugly thing that they thought that they would bring to your attention doesn't faze you. It's no longer a trigger. It's no longer a distraction. And while you're there busy running to school and they say, I don't think you're going to make it, you're like, I'm good though. You know what I'm saying? You're not fazed anymore. You're not sitting in a corner saying, why would they say something like that? I can't believe no, I'm not even hurt anymore because I see you. I see you and I've healed from what you threw at me. I'm good. I'm building my house. I'm 5 bedrooms in. I'm 8 bedrooms in. And you're still over there complaining. I'm good, honey. So it's one of those things where you get to the point, which is what I'm saying, how you know that you've been healed. You get to the point where you can see it from a mile away or even 5 miles away. And the encounter is no longer a situation that gives you pause, but the encounter, if you choose to have an encounter, because again, you don't have to. If you have an encounter and someone who is in your space decides to be diminutive of you, your thoughts, your plans, your efforts, feel free to dismiss them and not be triggered. If you can be in a relationship with someone, you can be loving on somebody, and they're not loving on you. They're loving on you too. But the minute you make a decision to do more for yourself, it becomes an attack. It becomes an infringement of their understanding of where you should be. And so that's another situation that you have to heal from. So I'm saying all this to say, I was placed in a situation where a conversation was had and certain things were mentioned. And I thought to myself, I have healed. It meant absolutely nothing to me. There was a time when I would hear certain things that people have said, to either tarnish my reputation or harm me emotionally, or even worse, prevent certain things from happening, prevent my dreams. So they will say things to, again, be diminutive. And I remember I used to be so caught up in it. Like, I can't believe, and I'm so hurt. And why they do that, and those are valid emotions. When you embrace these emotions, you have to say to yourself, thank you. Thank you, dear emotion, for sharing with me that this is not a human I need to be in my space. Thank you for helping me to minimize my circle to only the people who get me and only the people who choose to encourage me. And even if you are choosing not to encourage me, do me no harm. And those are the people that need to be in your space. So that's all I have for today. I hope you got something from it. Again, this is Dr. Monique Graham from Nick Speaks LLC. My phone number is on the back. You can also go to my website at nickspeaks.net, and you will find my nail polish line, which would be Neat Nailed It. You will find my t-shirts that I made. This is just one of many. My t-shirts are called Neat Notables. Also, I have a skincare line, and I'm going to have a whole talk about that. And skincare line is called Neek Nicety. That is also on my website. You'll see some details about it, but that's not what I'm going to talk about today. When I talk about my skincare line, I want to show you what I've been doing and all that good stuff and what has been happening with it. So that's another time. I just want to close with this one thing. We do heal, and healing is real. And when you know healing is real, is when what is said does not trigger. What is done does not faze you. And what an energy that is being sent out, when that energy is being sent out to you, it is not received. Please stay well. Remember self-care, and I'll see you next time.